Good morning. My name is tlewis, and I serve as the Director of Membership and Engagement here at Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We are delighted you are joining us this morning. If you are new to our community, we would love to get to know you and keep you informed of all the many ways you can participate. Please fill out the visitor form on our website at unitytemple.org or stop by the Newcomer Welcome before service. We offer the Newcomer Welcome each Sunday from 9:30 to 10. For more information on how to participate, please contact me at tlewis@unitytemple.org. I look forward to meeting you and hope to see you at coffee hour.
Good morning. My name is Aisha Ellis, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees at Unity Temple, and I'd like to welcome you to our service today. It's my pleasure to see you here. If you're joining us for the first time, you'll want to check out unitytemple.org, where you can find out more about who we are, what we do, and what we stand for, and our values. And we invite you to join us after the service for a virtual fellowship. That will be on Zoom, so you can chat with people and get to know them. You can also contact Tina Lewis if you'd like to know more about joining Unity Temple. I'd like to remind you on behalf of the Board of Trustees that our annual meeting will happen on December 13th, and you can watch for more information about that, such as our pre-annual meeting workshops. You will need to register for this event, so you will want to keep your eye out so you can register and join us to make important decisions about Unity Temple and where we're going in the future. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy the service.
Good morning, we're the Deanna family.
This is Dean, he just turned 1.
And this is?
Yeah.
And what do you like to do?
Stand dinosaur set. That's a good one.
Okay.
That's fun.
We invite you to let your chalice along with us. We are Unitarian Universalists.
This is the Church of the Open Minds, the Loving Hearts, and the Helping Hands. We take care of the planet Earth and each other.
I invite you to breathe deeply and center down. Center down so that you bring all of who you are to this time and to this community. We gather at a time when so much is uncertain. How do we navigate our lives when so much is fraught with anxiety and so much distrust is around us? In a nation where so many overlook egregious behavior for the sake of self-interest, we gather to cultivate compassion and courage and kindness. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. May we open our hearts, our minds, our souls as we gather for worship on this glorious day.
Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To toil together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Join Bert Anderson in singing Wade in the Water, which is hymn number 210 in the Great Hymnal.
See that band all dressed Sometimes it feels to me like there are a lot of changes going on in our lives. This is one of those times. Halloween was different this year. Because of COVID, we didn't get to have our big Halloween parties, and some people went trick-or-treating and some didn't. People didn't hand out candy in the same way. We put it out on tables or sent it down a chute. Some of that felt good and some of it didn't. We had a big election this week with lots and lots of things to vote on. That always means at least some change about the people that represent us in different parts of the government. Some new people are elected and some old ones get reelected. Some ideas get voted on and might pass or not. And some of that feels good and some of it doesn't. There's always things to be excited about and always things to be disappointed about. Change can be a challenging thing. Sometimes it feels like too much is changing or not enough. Change is always happening and that can be hard. So I got to thinking about what we know we can count on, what we always know to be true, even when things are changing. I thought of 3 things, because it's usually easy to remember 3 things. 1, we are not alone. Even when it seems like we're alone, we aren't, because I bet that you can think of a lot of people that love you and that you love. And if you can think of those people, and if you can feel about how you feel about them in your heart, then you aren't alone. If you're by yourself, you can think, oh yeah, I love my grandma and she loves me. And that love can keep you company anytime you need it. I mean, my grandma died a long while ago, but I know that she left some of her love with me. So even that helps me sometimes feel less alone. You can even remember that you are not alone by reminding other people that they are not alone. Right now, especially when we can't be with some of the people that we love, we can tell them that we are still thinking about them and still loving them. We are not alone. 2, we can do hard things. One of the things that I know about you is that you are resilient. And that means that when something makes you angry or sad or disappointed, you know how to feel your feelings and keep on going. You know how to bounce back. There's always things that are hard or scary that we have to do, like take tests or tell somebody something when we're not sure what they will say or try something new. Every one of us is strong enough to do what needs to be done, even if that means asking for help. We can do hard things. 3, we have a superpower, and that superpower is love. Every week in our worship services and in other places we say, love is the doctrine of this congregation, and we say, this is the church of the loving hearts. We say it a lot because it is right at the center of what we believe as Unitarian Universalists. We talk about love because it's important in how we act toward each other, and we talk about it because love is at the center of trying to make the world a better place for all people. We love the planet Earth, for example, so we work to protect its beauty. We love and celebrate people, whatever their sexual orientation or gender identity is, and so we work to change laws that keep things fair for everyone, and so on. Cornel West says that justice is what love looks like in public, and that means we use love to think about how we can make the world a better place for everyone and keep on working on that day after day, year after year. We have a superpower, and that superpower is love. There is a lot of change going on. There is always a lot of change going on. And there are things that we always know. We are not alone. We can do hard things. We have a superpower, and that superpower is love.
Good morning. I'm Judy Gallardo Grace, and I'm one of your pastoral associates. Each week, we hold a space for holding each other in our hearts and for the prayers of the people. If you have some great news or are celebrating something significant, our community would love to share with you in your joy. If you are suffering a loss or going through a major transition or challenge and would like the congregation to be aware, please let one of the ministers or one of the pastoral associates know, and it will be shared. Who are you holding in your heart? What prayers do you have? You may share them in the live chat. Locally, the following people were reported killed during the days of October 29th and November 5th. Mitchell Barber, 27. Keno Blake, 32. Kenneth Burks, 56. Samuel DeHart, 27. Johnny Guaman, 20. Yarnell Hicks, 24. Antoine Jackson, 23. Nassie Minifield, 18. Walter Palmer, 29. James Patterson, 32. And Anthony Sipp, 39. May we keep their families and others touched by violence in our prayers. May we also pray for the perpetrators and the impact the violence will have on their lives. Again, know that we would love to hear from you. Just contact one of our ministers or one of us, your pastoral associates. We are always available to you.
Please join me in a moment of reflection, prayer, and meditation. Spirit of divine light, it has been a week of held breaths, a week of anxious thoughts invading anxious bodies, a week of sadness, grief, anger. Some things seem so sure in this moment, and others seem to change every few moments. This roller coaster ride of emotions and news is too much all at once. Our bodies and minds are reaching, maybe have reached, a place of exhaustion. Yet, we are still here. Like the gurgle of a gentle stream, or a refreshing breeze, or a bright red rose in late autumn. We are surrounded by reminders that the spirit of love and life has not abandoned us. Rather, we are still held strong in the presence of love and the love of community that sustains us. As the news and feelings bombard us, may we take refuge in our community with one another that we might rest, renew, refresh for the next step that the Spirit guides us to. The journey to beloved community is a long one, but the journey is not solitary. We are in good company, here with our fellow Unitarian Universalists and all those who believe that human rights, life, and our living planet is worth saving, worth fighting for. We may not be able to hold each other's hands in this pandemic moment, but those hands are never far away. Spirit of love, connect our hands and hold us close that we might be resilient tomorrow. Blessed be. Our reading this morning is a poem by Odette Fulbright Folsom titled Prayer for the Morning. Did you rise this morning broken and hungover, with weariness and pain and rage tattered from waving too long in a brutal wind? Get up, child. Pull your bones tight. Gather your skin and muscle into a patch of sun. Draw breath deep into your lungs. You will need it, for another day calls to you. I know you ache. I know you wish the work were done, and you, with everyone you have ever loved, were on a distant shore, safe and unafraid. But remember this, tired as you are not alone. Here and here and here also, there are others weeping and rising and gathering their courage. You belong to them, and they to you. And together we will break through and bend the arc of justice all the way down into our lives.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. Ooh. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is sound of one voice.
Are you familiar with Sweet Honey in the Rock? They're one of my favorite musical groups. For over 25 years, I've been listening to them, and they've been performing almost 25 more. They are a group of African American women singing a cappella. And when I began listening to them, Issei Maria Barnwell, who is a member of All Souls Unitarian Church in Washington, D.C., she was a longtime member of Sweet Honey, and she wrote the song Prayer. It goes, "Can't no one know at sunrise how this day is going to end? Can't no one know at sunset if the next day will begin? In this world of trouble and woe, a person had better be ready to go. We look for things to stay the same, but in the twinkling of an eye, everything can change. The troubles of this world fill our hearts with rage. From Soweto to Stonewall, Birmingham and LA, we are searching for hope that lies within ourselves as we fight against misogyny, race hatred, and AIDS." This song has long supported me in times of great uncertainty. It has been a balm to my own soul the past 4 years, and now after the past 7 months of pandemic, and now after the most significant election of my lifetime, I'm still struggling. I'm struggling with the results. I expected a moral repudiation of the cruelty of the current administration. But instead, nearly 48% of American voters voted to give our president another 4 years. How can this be? Well, today's the 4-year anniversary of the election of our current president. On November 8th, 2016, it was my experience that this nation opened up a Pandora's box. And back then, I shared with you the story of Pandora, when the beautiful, joyful Pandora, who was created as the first human being by Hephaestus on order by Zeus, she was beloved by all. She brought joy to all. And she had great curiosity, such that when Zeus gave a beautiful box that was on their dresser, with the instructions never to open it, of course, Pandora couldn't resist. Her curiosity got the better of her, and when she finally opened it, all the evils rushed out at her on vicious wings. Greed and malice, rage and hatred, cunning and deceit, wickedness, even death. Until this moment, no one on earth had ever died. And as death flew out of the box in an icy rush, Pandora knew her curiosity had changed the world forever. Just as quickly as she had opened the box, she slammed the lid shut, but it was too late, and she dropped to the floor, sobbing. My friends, the past 4 years, we've been living with a bunch of angry, straight white, super rich, primarily men, running our nation with a president who casts a narrative that mesmerizes so many. Hatred towards people of color, women, sexual minorities, immigrants, and non-Christians have been spewed, along with a refusal to embrace science and a contempt for the norms of democracy. He sowed so much distrust on both sides of the aisle that our nation just had a record turnout at the polls. A broad coalition worked to defeat him, and some of our members were out every weekend for the past 2 months on Saturday and Sunday, knocking on doors in Michigan, and also last Monday. And one of our members wrote over 4,600 postcards. We were among a larger effort of Unitarian Universalists and people of compassion, but the Unitarian Universalists contacted over 2,700,000 people to vote in this election. And I believe this work made a difference. It made a big difference. But it is also hard to come to terms with the tremendous political divide our country faces. It is uncertain how the distrust will continue to paralyze our nation. David Brooks recently wrote in The Atlantic, "Explosive distrust is not just an absence of trust or a sense of detached alienation. It is an aggressive animosity and an urge to destroy." He pointed out that distrust sows distrust and produces the spiritual state that Emile Durkheim called anomie, a feeling of being disconnected from society, a feeling that the whole game is illegitimate, that we are invisible and not valued, a feeling that the only person we can really trust is ourselves. When anomie spreads, a nation faces a spiritual crisis. And this month, we are exploring the theme of healing. And right now, I'm not feeling it, at least for our national level. So many of us are exhausted, grieving for the damage done over the last 4 years, and deeply uncertain what comes next. Distrustful of those who have caused so much harm. I find the question becomes more local. What does it mean to be a community of healing or a people of healing at this time when the United States of America would be better called the divided States of America, where the divide isn't geographic, but ideological? It's time for us religious liberals and people of compassion to look inward, a time to recharge, a time to reconnect with one another, to find nourishment with one another. It is a time to attend to our community here in the Western Chicagoland region. And most importantly, it's a time to attend to our own faith. It seems to me that an ethic of selfishness has gotten a hold of a huge segment of our nation. And this ethic of selfishness is something that religious liberals and people of compassion actively counter in ourselves and seek to counter in others. And here at Unity Temple, we actively cultivate generosity among us. Last month was our annual fund drive. And despite many people losing jobs or having their income cut significantly, so many people have given generously, increasing their giving such that we are only $82,000 away from our goal. We're more than 90% of the way there. A Unitarian Universalist congregation is critical to the well-being of so many people. One of our central roles is to be here to support one another, and especially those on the front lines doing justice work. Everything we do is to cultivate faith. To cultivate faith in our members so that we can live out our values among our congregation and spread them in our wider community by cultivating relationships and calling forth the best in our fellow citizens. This week, Waltrina Middleton of Community Renewal Society shared a devotion focusing on words of Howard Thurman that I am deeply grateful to be reminded of. This comes from Meditations of the Heart by Howard Thurman. I seek the enlargement of my heart, that there may be room for peace. Already there is room enough for chaos. There is in everyday's experience much that makes for confusion and bewilderment. But the need of my heart is for room for peace. Peace of mind that inspires singleness of purpose. Peace of heart that quiets all fears and uproots all panic. Peace of spirit that filters through all confusions and robs them of their power. These I see now. I know that here in this quietness, my life can be infused with peace. Therefore, before God, I seek the enlargement of my heart at this moment, that there may be room enough for peace. As our nights become longer, we are entering the darkest 3 months of the year. The dark can be a scary time, but it also can be a nourishing time, depending on how we approach it. It can be a time of enlarging our hearts, remembering that we are a part of a long line of witnesses that have stood for justice. I'm reminded this week by a colleague of words scratched on the walls of a cellar in Cologne, Germany, by a Jew hiding from Nazi persecution, that was put to music by Mark Miller in a song that our choir has sung. It goes, I believe in the sun even when it's not shining. I believe in love even when I don't feel it. I believe in God, even when God is silent. When Pandora had cried for a while, she heard a faint rustling at the bottom of the box that she had just opened. There was something still in there. She didn't know whether to open it up, but it didn't sound scary what she was hearing, and she got up her courage to open the box. Trembling, she witnessed a small, radiant creature rise up. And it looked eye to eye with Pandora on small, light wings. And as she saw it go, Pandora realized that the last thing left in the box was something that could counter all evil that she had released. She realized that she also had released hope. Hope that when coupled with courage and love can take human beings anywhere, no matter how difficult life may become. There is no telling for sure what is in our future, but the Buddhists remind us that we are always in a don't know place. If we can learn how to live into that without getting into the anger and all the emotions that threaten us, then we can find great freedom. Then we can do our work and know that even if it doesn't have the impact we hope for, it is still worth doing because it's the right thing to do. This is a time to tend to our faith. It is a time to allow that fragile, beautiful piece of us called hope to find a place to grow in our enlarged heart. It is a time to enlarge our hearts with love, for love, hope, and faith are inextricably tied together. So attend your faith. Your faith is your resilience, our capacity to engage a frightful world with an open heart. One of our members has likened faith to an inner rose. This is a time to tend the rose plant within. For right now, there are buds, rose buds in each of us that are fragile. And if nourished, will open into dazzling beauty, even amidst the darkest of our moments. The healing available to all of us is in tending that inner rose bush, that small, still voice within, that fragile hope, allowing them space to grow, to energize, to blossom. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. Each week, Unity Temple gives our Sunday collection to an organization that is aligned with our Unitarian Universalist principles and is committed to bringing justice to the world. This week, our offering will go to Hephzibah Children's Association, helping children thrive and families flourish through innovative community-based programs. Hephzibah provides group homes, foster care, family-based services, daycare, educational enrichment, and a sibling camp. You may donate at their website, hephzibahhome.org, by sending a check to Unity Temple with Hephzibah in the memo line, or by using the camera on your phone to scan the QR code on your screen. May what you give bring you joy.
Join me in singing hymn number 396 in the Gray Hymnal, I Know This Rose Will Open. We'll sing it in a 2-part round. I'll sing it all the way through one time, and then I'll begin again and then enter after the first half of the phrase. Just follow me, and as always, we'll make it together. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this wings. I know this rose will open. will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this wings. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul. I know its wings. I know its wings. I know this rose will open.
Our benediction comes in part from Adrian Rich from our hymnal. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who age after age perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. May we open our hearts up to the song of love, the still small voice within, so that our inner rose may open and open brightly. Blessed be. Amen.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine.
Still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call.
for there